going to say something that's probably going to be very, very unpopular now because he's such a brilliant player. But Lucas Paqueta's like a petulant child. He really is. It was a point during the Olympiacos game, and I think to an extent during the Everton game when he was throwing a tantrum, when I thought, if I was ever watching this player play against West Ham, I would hate it. I would absolutely hate him. And I think that for all the best and all the worst reasons. Because in spite of all his brilliance, and he is an amazing player, he is stroppy, he's divey, he's petulant, he backchats, he feigns all manner of injuries, and certainly the way he throws himself to the ground is done so in a fashion that if it was anyone else for another team would have me laughing, openly laughing at him. There's a couple of them that spring to mind. I think it was it Flores who threw himself to the floor and pretended to be injured in front of Sam Allardyce. Sam Allardyce sort of leant over him and was laughing at him. So if you ever remember Rivaldo, do you remember him? He got, I think the ball got kicked into his midriff. Maybe it hit his stomach, something like that. And he went down clutching his face. Whilst I haven't seen anything quite that bad from Lucas Paqueta, it's pretty bad stuff at times. However, it did occur to me that you sort of give him a certain amount of leeway because he's your player, and rightly so. But it's not something I ever thought I wanted to see from somebody at West Ham. Definitely not. So myself and Gio were discussing Lucas Paqueta and absolutely his brilliance and what he gives to the game. Because despite we saw a brilliant start to the game, a really crappy middle of the game and start to the second half, then ultimately he started and finished a move which won West Ham the game. He's a genius. People often ask the question, Lucas Paqueta or Dimitri Payet. It's becoming more and more prevalent. I'm not getting into that now. But that's how good he is. Anyway, myself and Gio discussed Lucas Paqueta in depth on our player ratings, turn it to Jonathan Ross then, our player ratings show over on Patreon. So this is a cheeky little plug for our Patreon, by the way. We're going to play you the clip, what we discussed Lucas Paqueta. It got quite interesting. I certainly think so. Anyway, if you'd like to see more of that stuff, then you can join us over on Patreon, which is our third Hammers Chat channel. It's a way that you can support what myself, Gio and Charlie do, which allows us to produce content on a daily basis across two channels. That you get a discount to this sort of stuff as well, which is our Christmas jumper, by the way. If you want this, you need to get your order in before Monday. You get a £5 off. Look, all the details are below for our Patreon. We think it's great value. We've got Anton Ferdinand podcast, Hammerlytics. We've got our non-football show, which has caused quite a stir as well. Anyway, go and check out. Links in the description below. Patreon.com/HammersChat. Hopefully you enjoy this clip now where we're discussing Lucas Paqueta from last night's game against Olympiacos.
Anyway, right there, Canoe 6, Lucas Paqueta.
Well, earlier on, it's gone from it's up higher in the feed, but it was Frank. He was talking about James Ward-Prowse, and he said something like, not terrible, not brilliant. That was his assessment of James Ward-Prowse, which I totally get and totally agree with. Yesterday, Lucas Paqueta was terrible and brilliant, which was just one of those funny ones. So the opposite of James Ward-Prowse, really. There were times in that first half where he was just completely dictating play. His passing, his awareness of it in particular, was absolutely outstanding. Head and shoulders above anyone else on that pitch. And, oh man, the commentators were doing my nutting. They really, really were. I mean, Don Hutchinson was one of them. I'm not sure how much. I don't think he's watched much West Ham this season, but you could say that. I think it was Ian Dark. Ian Dark, bloody hell, he can't tell the difference between Alvarez, Emerson, and Paqueta. He thinks they're all the same. Oh my goodness!
He just called them all Paqueta.
He really does. He really does. Yeah, you know what I mean. Anyway, if only there was some system where you could put numbers and names on the back of the shirts to enable you to get the players correct. Honestly, it's ridiculous. Anyway, so the start of the second half was probably the first 15, 20 minutes, second half, awful, just awful. He undid everything that was good about him in the first half. Was horrendous in the second half. It was a terrible performance. He was putting us in trouble. He was giving the ball away. He had no awareness. Suddenly, all his spatial awareness had gone. His decision-making. Honestly, talk about night and day, chalk and cheese. It was, what a ridiculous performance it was. But then you get the brilliance at the end. And it was him that started the move for the goal. He started it. He was drifting around trying to find space. And then it was obviously him that finished it off as well. And I guess that's what you get with those players. You know, they are constantly probing and looking. I'm probably going to do a video about it later, probably be today's video. Something occurred to me, Gio. I was watching it. I would hate him if I was an opposition fan. It just occurred to me yesterday. There was one point where the opposition guy was talking to the referee, and Paqueta did not barge into him, but he stood right in the space where he knew the guy was going to walk, because he knew the guy was going to turn around, just stood there and bang, like that. He's a he's a piece of work. I'm telling you, the guy is a piece of work. He's niggly, he's nasty, he's impossible to shift off the ball. He dives, he's moany, he's whingy. He is non-stop. He would frustrate the hell out of me if he was an opposition player. But I realised last night, a lot of this I saw, because he's a West Ham, because he's wearing a claret and blue, I sort of ignore it. But I can only imagine him playing for Arsenal, playing against us. I'll be doing me nut in a review at that guy. Honestly, he's horrendous. He's horrendous. But what an amazing player. I'll give him a 7 out of 10.
I'll give him a 6. First 20 minutes was really, really good. Like you said, dictated play, moving the ball around. The remainder of the first half, I thought he turned into a petulant child. Just trying to get free kicks, and the referee was having none of it. And while the referee's got a lot of criticism and understand why, I thought he got Paqueta bang on. He knew Paqueta was a diving whinge and so. At one point, the ball hit me in the face. He went down holding the back of his neck, and you think, and then you start doing keepy ups at the end of the first half. The boy won the ball, and he went down holding his ankle. There was literally no contact whatsoever. And I just think, like I said, when we're winning, I quite like it because it slows the game down. It annoys the other team. But when it's 0-0 and we need a goal and we're playing poor, it really boils my piss, quite frankly. I think, what are you doing? And he deserved to come off, but you can't sub him off because he's the one player that's capable of doing something out of nothing. And Moyes gets his critics, and we'll get on to him. But fair play to Moyes, because Moyes leaves him on all the time. Moyes just trust that eventually Paqueta might just do something that everyone else is incapable of. And I think if you pre-Paqueta, you said to me, oh, we're going to sign this player who's going to dive, he's going to whinge, he's got a 50% pass completion rate, his tracking back can be questionable, but he's capable of billions. Will Moyes sign him? I'd say, hell no. That's the last player David Moyes wants at this club. Moyes couldn't think of anything worse than that kind of player, but he's got him. And Moyes puts him in, leaves him in, and quite often gives him a free roll, as if say, do what you want kind of thing. And that's not something out of the David Moyes handbook. And Moyes has admitted himself he's had to change with Lucas Paqueta. He's had to put up with stuff he probably wouldn't do with other players. But while he comes up with that moment that he did, he justifies everything. He justifies Moyes putting up with him. He justifies that leeway that perhaps wouldn't be afforded to Said Benrahma from the manager. So I'm going to give him a 6. I thought he was horrific, but a moment of brilliance.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. And then we've got to factor in the fact we've already done the stats here. He got the most interceptions or tackles, whatever it was you said, of anyone in our team, right?
Yeah.
One of them actually prompted an attack. He did a go gadget leg, which he wrapped around. Not only did he won the ball, he nicked the ball from, and then we were on the attack again.
Yeah.
And I think it went to Bowen, and Bowen passed it to him. Nothing happened in that particular attack. So not only have you got the petulance, the brilliance, the drama, the playing up to the referee, the winding up of the opposition as well. You've got all that. You've got this work rate and this work ethic where he is prepared to tackle back and help the team, and the fact that he actually did look like he had a knock in that first half. He looked like he got a knock, and you know what? He's not the type of guy that's gonna shy away and not come out for the second half. He's gonna go in there, get his whatever. Yeah, I was going to say get his cup of tea and and the rub down from the masseuse and get back out again. But I don't know what. They definitely weren't having tea at half time, as I've said on numerous occasions. But had to sleep easy and came out. But honestly, he's totally and utterly committed to the cause, and it's something that he's shown throughout everything, be it his link to Man City, throughout the FA investigation, for the betting allegations and all the rest of it. It doesn't matter.
From the Brazil squad,
absolutely. Come wind, rain, or high water, this guy is absolutely committed and gives 100%. And yeah, he's quite a remarkable player, actually.